Common Sense TV. What's going on? So if you've been watching the news lately, you've been seeing a lot about President Trump, this Russia probe, whether to impeach or not to impeach. A lot about sports, natural disasters, what have you. But we're not hearing a lot about the health of our economy. I mean, we do sometimes, but not the real truth about it. And we're not seeing the destruction of the U.S. economy playing out right in front of our eyes. And that's what I want to talk about today. The destruction of the U.S. economy. And we have some economists speaking about this stuff. But those people are really barred from coming on mainstream media and talking about the truth and talking about what's really going on. So you have a bunch of stuff on Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN that's a bunch of nonsense. Just non-news, non-issue stuff that really makes no difference. It's not real information. It's fluff. And you have some economists talking about the rising debt that we have in the U.S. I think it's like $22 trillion at this point. And unemployment numbers. Right now, they say it's pretty low. It could be pretty low. But I think the numbers are cooked. And they usually are cooked. And what's so important about all this is that you have a president in office, and he's trying to do some good things, right? He's trying to get the economy back on track. I think he really believes he's trying. But what he's doing is he's hurting the economy. I don't know who his economic advisors are. I don't know who these people are, but what Trump is doing, Trump is trying to implement change and policy that would work in the 1950s and 60s, but it's not going to work today. We live in a globalized world. And what he's doing is he's putting in the U.S. in a position where he's stealing the U.S.'s fate. Because what the U.S. doesn't do in the global marketplace, China will. China will pick up the slack. So going back to the rising U.S. debt, we're at $22 trillion. And we are a system that we need growth. The GDP must grow every year, because if you don't, you get compound debt. That's just the way our economy works. So unemployment, it's got to be low. They want to keep unemployment low. The reason being is because, look, the real growth as far as value add to our economy comes in terms of labor. Most people don't understand this. Most people think that value add comes from companies and comes from, these corporations. And some of it does. But a lot of these corporations, they get such huge tax breaks, like GE and other corporations, that they're not paying their fair share. And then you have a lot of other major companies like Facebook, Google, YouTube. I mean, I don't know what they're paying in taxes, but they don't really produce much. I mean, they create a lot of revenue, no doubt about it. But, they're not creating tangible products. And you can't rely on them. You need small business. That's where the growth comes in. Labor, small business, and W-2 workers. That's the new growth that this country needs. Because let's face it, America's like a Ponzi scheme. People don't really understand this. People looked at Madoff and like he was the bad guy, and they don't understand. Our economy, the U.S. economy, is no different than what Bernie Madoff did. It's one big Ponzi scheme. And you have to keep feeding this monster in order for it to survive, because our economy is so large. If you don't keep feeding it with new labor, new income, and new growth, it will collapse. And that's what people don't get. People say, well, the economy is doing just great. How do you say? Well, look at Wall Street. Wall Street, that's artificial growth. That's a known fact. Everyone knows that most of the stocks on Wall Street, those companies have purchased their own stocks through stock buybacks to drive up the value of their own stock prices so they can get bigger bonuses. We know that. So it's not real growth. It's artificial growth. So again, where's the real growth? All we're doing is printing money. And right now, we can keep doing that right now because the dollar is so strong. It's widely accepted worldwide. People want the dollar. But what if there came a day where the dollar fell out of favor? I'm not saying it's going to happen anytime soon, but what if it did? What would happen? Something to think about. Anyways, going back to the situation with our economy, we have a social security, 401ks, and pensions. And these are on the chopping block next. These are what these banks want. This is what they're going after. Because they know, look, the little guy has no power. I mean, they've already looted most of the Social Security already, but they want the rest of it. Most people don't realize that Social Security is not properly funded at this point because it's been looted so much. But they want it all now, being these banks and these corporate interests. And that's what they're going to do. They're going to take that, and they're going to take your 401k with it. So if you have a lot of money in 401k, and if there happens to be another downturn in the marketplace before you retire, then there goes your 401k. It's gone. I can remember back in 2008 when people had these nice 401ks, and within a matter of a year, maybe even 9 months, their 401k had lost 50 to 60% of its value. It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. And what happens is that the people who lose is the little guy. People who save money, people who have 401ks, people who are doing the right thing and putting their money into the bank and paying it to Social Security because they think it's that's all that they can do. They're going to get left holding the bag. They're going to get left holding the bag, and it's not going to be pretty. It really isn't going to be pretty. So you say, well, what's next? I believe this is where we have the cryptocurrency market. Into cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Litecoin, all these other, people call them digital assets. Most people don't know what they are, and it's kind of hard to define some of this stuff. But Bitcoin came about right after the crash of 2008, and I don't think that's by coincidence. I don't think Bitcoin was designed by the people who we think who made it. I think it was designed by the banking elite, because this is the next big thing for them to maintain power, and they will maintain power. And I think it's a good idea to get more knowledgeable. I'm not going to say invest in it if you don't want to, but it's a good idea to get more knowledgeable about cryptocurrencies and what it is and what they can do, and think about the future implications of these digital assets. Because if you look at these assets, right now they serve no purpose, right? I mean, Bitcoin serves a few purposes. You can purchase a few things with Bitcoin. Actually, you can purchase a good deal of things with Bitcoin. People don't realize that. You can buy, in certain cases, they're going to have mortgage companies where you can purchase homes with Bitcoin. You can purchase, in a handful of places, you can purchase a car with Bitcoin. You can purchase gold with Bitcoin. Most people don't realize that. Gold. Hard gold. You can purchase gold with Bitcoin. And that's a real utility right there. So you're going to see this utility of Bitcoin and all these other assets come to play within the next 5 to 10 years, because eventually they're going to be more and more use cases for these things. Right now they're slow adoption with this. Right? There are not that many places to accept it. But let's think, what if next year Starbucks accepted cryptocurrency, right? Not a big deal, right? Let's say maybe in 3 years, let's say if perhaps you were able to pay rent in cryptocurrency, then that would make people say, oh, okay, it's still not a big deal. But what if there was another downturn in the economy and dollar was going down and cryptocurrencies were going up? Where would you put your money? I put mine in cryptocurrency. It would almost be like a money market fund. With the money you put in there, it keeps growing interest and gets compounded by people putting more money into cryptocurrencies. I think it's the wave of the future. Just my thought. Not any investment advice, but hey, that's what I think. Anyways, thanks for listening. Peace.